It'll go. Welcome to Edge of the Rabbit Hole Livestream Show. I'm Mike Ricksecker with, of course, Vanessa Hogle, and welcome to our show this evening. I already see that Andrew Cox and Paul Johnston are already with us this evening. That's awesome. Thank you very much. I know Shana is about to be on her way. She just got home from work, so she's doing what she needs to do, and she'll be there. She is. And there's Linda. So great to see a lot of familiar faces out here already. So we have a very interesting show on tap for this evening, and kind of inspired by, well, a little bit by Andrew, because Andrew talked about seeing the Hat Man in one of his drives, and Vanessa was talking about she didn't know much about the Hat Man. So it was like, let's talk about shadow people. So, Vanessa, what are your experiences, just kind of real quick, with shadow type people? I don't know if you've had very many. I've actually had quite a few.
Well, probably the most prominent one that I've ever had, because I see them, but there's not an interaction with them. Like there's one that keeps walking through my bathroom here, but there is. I had an investigation that I was doing. I don't think you were there. It was years ago, and it was with a previous group. You remember who I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And it was one of the members' residences, and they were having a whole lot of trouble with their master bedroom. And me and the rest of the team were there, and it was all kinds of crazy in that room. It was like almost like a train station, and I laid down on the bed so that I could kind of get a feel for what they were feeling when they were in that bedroom. And above me, like I'm laying down, so it's like directly above me, this weird black shadow formation kind of formed. And the only way that I knew that that's what it was, and I need to know if anyone else has experienced this, it had red sparklies all in it.
Oh, wow.
And that's how you could see the outline of it, was because there was no more sparklies.
Oh, that's interesting. That's a little different. And
it was like red iridescent.
Okay. And see, this is kind of the thing that we're going for, is to try to, collect all these different experiences. We've talked about it with fairies a lot lately, trying to get those experiences from other people. So, we'd love for anybody out there to share their stories of what they've had with shadow people or other supernatural entities. So, and there's Carrie. Hey, Carrie, good to see you. So, the way I'm going to kick this off is cover a couple of different types of shadow people. So, let me get to my media here. And I've actually talked about this stuff a couple of times before in my older video blogs. Like my very first video blog was on shadow people, because I've had some significant experiences with shadow people. So, what are they really? It's, there's a lot of theories out there. So I want everybody to keep in mind that really what we're dealing with are a lot of theories. We have people's experiences, and then people trying to draw conclusions from those different experiences. So anybody who's tries to say that they are an expert in shadow people, no, not happening. I've seen a lot of shadow people in my day, but I would never say that I'm an expert in shadow people. Have I had more experiences with them than many other people? Sure, that doesn't make me an expert. Okay, so I'm going to first talk about the humanoid figure type of shadow person, which is the one that I first remember seeing, and I've talked about this many times. Usually when I get interviewed, they're like, how did you get into the paranormal? Well, it kind of really all starts back to seeing this figure. And Adam Tillery, that's an illustration from him, did a really fantastic job of rendering what I saw and what interacted with me that evening. So that is one type of shadow person right there, is the humanoid figure. Then there are some others with the Hat Man, which Andrew said that he saw. I have not seen the Hat Man. That's one that I haven't seen before. The hooded figure is another one that people see, and some have tried to ask me, was the hooded figure what I saw at the Edmund house on the show The Haunted? because I did see a very dark black shadow entity of some sort, but it was more like a mist. But because it was kind of rounded in shape, people asked if it was the hooded figure, and I don't believe it was. Another one is the one with the red eyes, and now that is similar to what the girl Taliesin at that house in Edmond was seen. Others that were with us tried to chalk it up to a wraith. Not really sure. Again, all theoretical, but a shadow person with red eyes is another one that is seen. And generally, the Hat Man and the one with red eyes are considered negative. There's also the Hag, and I have a full video dating back, I don't know, a year and a half ago, something like that, to the Hag. And you know, the hag-ridden dreams, riding the hag, that sort of thing, the night hag. And actually, our word nightmare comes from this phenomenon where somebody wakes up in the middle of the night and it's some sort of, you know, smallish, a lot of times they say maybe an elderly woman is sitting on their chest, pressing down on them, and they can't get up. And that's where a lot of sleep paralysis stories come from as well. And there's actually a lot of different lore surrounding this from many, many different cultures. And in that older video, I actually start reading off some of those different you know, phenomena that, you know, different cultures from around the world that had no interaction with each other actually experience, and they're very, very common, or they have a lot of commonalities between them. So that's another one as well.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Mike, but is that what you just described? Isn't there a similar painting by Goya?
You're not watching the video feed? I did just post that.
Is that what you just posted?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
No, I can't see shit.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. As I was describing all of that, I was posting different pictures. You didn't see any of that. So.
No, I can't see shit. Love you.
Right. So, yeah, so those are a lot of different types. Now, another one that I have seen a few different times, I don't really have a picture or what have you of it, because it's just a quick wisp. And the best description or best way I can, or visualization, and I can't use it in this video here because of copyright purposes, is a snippet from I think it was the first season of Ghost Adventures. They were at the Houghton Mansion in Massachusetts, and they had, you know, all the motion sensors and everything go off in this clip. But it wasn't the motion sensors that were significant. It was the dark wisp that just kind of darted across the screen. And I've seen that a couple times before. It's very similar to, and I've told the story before about how I was, you know, 13 years old, we were moving, and there would be something that would kind of be looking in the room and then dart away. Similar to that. There's also, with an old team, and Vanessa, were you ever there at Johnny V's?
No.
No, okay.
I believe I read just through text messages for
Okay.
that, but I never got to go.
Okay. Well, I had a significant experience. I'm going to share a part of it here. I don't actually have video for it, but I have the audio for it. Where at this restaurant, the restaurant was closed down, but the owner still, you know, allowed us in as they were going through the process of selling it. And we're really just kind of finishing up for the night. Everybody else was upstairs in the bar area, and I was doing a last kind of sweep of the bottom floor. And I walk into the kitchen, and there's this just black wisp that suddenly darts across the room, and you hear the smack of the metal door in the kitchen, but it doesn't actually move. And I shout up, "Hey, did you guys hear that?" And they heard it, but you know, it wasn't a sound that they had made. I wasn't anywhere near the door. It was really, really kind of strange because you heard the black wisp go through the door, but the door didn't move. And it was just a flimsy metallic door. So I'm going to play the clip. It's a picture of that door, of that area in the kitchen. It's not a video, but I have the audio where you hear the slam of the door. So I'll play that real quick. And all of a sudden there was that bang. All right, and I guess it finished up. I'm still kind of getting familiar with the software. I don't actually see the thing play as far as when it comes to the sound, so I kind of have to check. So okay, so that's the clip from Johnny V's. You hear the door slam, but there it didn't actually move. It was really, really strange. So let me check the chat here real quick. See what you guys are talking about. Because like I said, I'd love for you guys to share any experiences that you have had with us so we can talk about those. And I know, hey, it's Valentine's Day. I guess we got to say that. Happy Valentine's Day as well. So understandable there may not be as many of you this evening. So what do we got?
With that wisp thing that you're talking about, Mike, don't forget to play that NP video, because that's exactly
we're getting to those. We're getting to those.
That I didn't know you had one of those experiences like that. So,
yeah.
Wow.
So, all right. Yeah, it's Shauna's asking for fairy information, which is awesome. We'd love more of that. Slender Man, and okay, Slender Man is a tulpa. It was actually an invention on the internet, and basically from a collection of stories. But people have so in mass believed in this thing that a lot of people are actually starting to report true, real sightings of seeing Slender Man. So a tulpa is basically a spiritual being that takes the form of whatever people are kind of clamoring for. So these people are giving a mythical creature, Slender Man, some sort of power, and this malevolent being is taking on the form of what all these people are talking about and actually playing the role of what started off as a story. So it's really quite a fascinating phenomenon, but also very dangerous as well.
So is it basically almost like a summoning?
In a way, yeah. It's kind of like you're summoning a creature to take on this role, and the people don't actually realize that they're doing it. They just start believing in this type of being actually existing, and because there's so much energy now being fed into this fictional existence, something actually recognizes that and takes the form of it.
That is interesting. I mean, I've been doing this a long time. I have never really sat down and thought of the possibility of that. But basically manifesting something that doesn't exist into existence. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
And my son always called him Slender Man. I had to really stick it in his head that he wasn't Jewish. It was always Slender Man.
Hey, we gotta be careful about saying anything Jewish. I don't know if those that are no, seriously, those that are big time YouTubers all know about PewDiePie earlier today, where he's basically been
my son's favorite person.
He's been dropped by like everybody. So
what? Okay, you'll tell me later.
Yeah, I'll tell you later. But it was because of stuff like that. So
really?
Yeah. So Fran says she loves your hair.
Oh, thank you, honey. I take a shower.
She took a shower. There you go.
It was a long day. Trust me, I needed it. Oh my goodness.
Carrie's saying Slender Man wouldn't be a shadow person. It would be giving energy to something that created in this realm that people chose to give life. True. Yeah, it would be something that people in this realm chose to give life. But who's not to say that a shadow person could be the entity to be able to do that? My take on shadow people is they're interdimensional beings. I'm still learning a lot about them. They may be able to take on the form of something else. We don't know. There's a lot of different theories out there. But if not a shadow person, who or what would be taking on that form? We've given it a generic term, a tulpa, but we don't know exactly what entity it is that is taking on that form. So,
the idea of what you're talking about is almost more frightening than the thing itself. I mean, that actually does kind of scare me a little bit.
Well, it is because there's a whole aside from the paranormal aspect of it, there's a whole group psychosis with it as well, where you've had, it's a couple years ago now, but like, some girls had attacked or killed their friend over, because they said Slender Man made them do it, and stuff like that. So there's some places where it's gone way, way extreme. It's become very sad. So there was kind of like a rash of different attacks there a couple years ago.
Jeez.
Yeah, really, really quite sad. So let's see what else we have here. Okay, so we'll get to. I know, Vanessa, you're really anxious about the NP paranormal stuff.
Only because of what you just said, though.
I know.
The mist.
We'll get to those. We'll get to those in just a minute. Let me do the Campsville stuff first, and then because yours are some very significant video clips, so we want to build that anticipation a little bit here. Okay, so and Shana can chime in on this in the chat room. Hint, hint. Okay, the Campsville Grade School. These were revealed in our Campsville Grade School reveal. We investigated there a few different times. Shana is going there, is it tomorrow? I guess it is, because Thursday is finally the day where it's being officially purchased by the Archaeological Society there, so no more access for it. We're pretty much cut off earlier anyways, but they had to hammer out some last, final paperwork, and so Thursday's the last day. So yeah, she's going tomorrow morning. Okay. And then that's it. So there, we actually captured. Now we knew something was there with us because we kept hearing it walking. We kept hearing it around us. It kept poking Shana. So a lot of different stuff was going on. We did capture some EVPs, but going back through the video later on, we were sitting off on the in the bleachers, and over by the door to the boys' locker room in the basement. You see a shadow over there, and that's where we're getting a lot of activity. And so I'm going to first show a dark image, and then a lightened up. And you can actually see it in the dark image, on a bigger monitor, but with not knowing what everybody has, a lightened up an image. I'm going to be showing two different ones. So here's the first darker image, and the door to the locker room in the basement is basically in the middle. That light area to the right is the stage. Now lighten it up, and you'll see there's the shadow person there in front of the door. And in the video that we have, you can actually see it walking a little bit. Here's the second darker image. And this is, like, I don't know, maybe 30 seconds after the first one. And here's the lighter image. So it's still over there. But we did actually see it moving in the video clip. It's hard to see because the video is dark. These are the lighter images of it. So now we did go back later on. We showed this in our reveal video where I stayed back by the bleachers, about where we were, and we had Shana standing over there by the doors to kind of size up about how tall the shadow person would have been, and we determined it was about the size of maybe like a 10, 11-year-old child, which makes a lot of sense because we felt that something was always kind of playing with us in there, poking Shana's kind of playing around like a child. So Shana, feel free to chime in the chat room about all of that, because there have been like the one EVP we got where we heard something, and then Shana got upset, and it actually kind of bolted off a little bit. She had to get out of that area, and we caught an EVP that said bye. So there's a lot of stuff going on around in that area. So yeah. She's going there with two of her former classmates tomorrow. So hoping that maybe she gets a little bit more information about that shadow person that's there. It's our last chance.
Since I can't get in the chat room, the way that I'm doing this, and I know Shana can hear me, so hopefully she'll answer. Did she, by any chance, have a feeling when you guys were there that the child that is quite possibly there, that they might be special needs?
Hopefully she'll hear you. There's a bit of a delay, about 30 seconds, so hopefully she'll hear that and answer it. I don't recall her saying anything about special needs before, just, child. So we'll see what she responds with, and she's her droid died, so she's gonna have a hard time taking pictures tomorrow, which she really wanted. So Shana, any insight? We gotta wait because it's that little bit of a delay. And Andrew's talking about Captain Minky. That's the boat. We're talking about the school. We can get to the boat here in a little bit. Now we did actually, and I'm not showing it. Okay. Shana says, I have no idea, Vanessa. I don't know if children with special needs were in with the same school or if they went to another facility. So we don't know. But it was something that was being very playful with her. Hi Angela, how you doing? And we also, in the basement, I'm not showing you here because it wasn't a shadow person, but we did capture, and you can go back and watch the reveal video, what seems like an apparition. But what's really crazy about this is throughout the video clip, although you can distinctly see the outline of a woman in an older style dress, basically staring right at the camera, she doesn't move at all, which is really, really strange. So that kind of leads us to believe that maybe there's some sort of matrixing going on with background. But when we went back to capture that image and try to figure out if it really was matrixing, we couldn't duplicate the effect. So a lot of stuff going on at the school there.
You just brought up a very interesting thing, Mike, that I would like to ask our viewers about and get an honest opinion on this. A friend of mine on Facebook contacted me today because a mutual friend had posted a picture, and he saw something in this random picture, a family gathering, and sent it to me without telling me really what he saw. I saw the same thing. I in turn sent it to the person whose house it was taken in. They saw it right away too. So when you talk about matrixing, or is it pareidolia, I think is what people call it?
Pareidolia is another word for it.
I can understand the concept behind that, where you might see something where there isn't anything. But what do you call it when everyone sees the same thing?
Well, it could still be the same thing. Everybody could be, experiencing the same effect. From
how rare that is, though.
Well, I don't know. I mean, you take that image. You take that image of Mars from like 30 years ago, and although your logical mind, and I guess they've kind of proven since that it was a rock formation of some sort. You're looking at it and you're like, yeah, that looks like a face. And everybody's looking at it like, that looks like a face. But, it's not. So.
I know. And I mean, that's a little bit different. I mean, you're talking about something large, that.
But it was a small image because at the time it was, the technology.
But it just, I don't know. I mean, I totally get how you can see something that isn't there because of ways that, that your mind attracts things. But when it's something very odd and everyone's brain still goes to the same conclusion, I don't know. I guess I'm just wondering if we blow some things off thinking they're matrixing when they're actually not.
And that could be. There could be, a lot of legitimate stuff that we blow off as matrixing. I mean, I have a hard time with like windows and reflective surfaces, like mirrors and what have you, because I'm not seeing the entire surroundings. And there have been plenty of times where I've seen a photograph and have been like, well, that does look like somebody up there, and then actually gone to the location, figured out, oh no, it's actually something else. Or see people post something about, well, yada yada yada, here's a torso of a person, and you're looking at it, and it's like, well, I actually know that there's a window back there, so no, your thermal image is actually is a reflection. So.
Well, yeah, if it can be disproved, totally get that.
Yeah, but when somebody just sends you like a random picture, and you've never been to the place, so you don't know the layout, and you can't go there to look at the surroundings, it's really hard to kind of, at least in my mind, take that as, yes, this is actually a picture, a paranormal activity, that somebody is standing in that window, or there really is some sort of ghost or what have you in this mirror, because you can't see behind the photographer to know that there's not something being reflected there, or if it's like in the window, you can't see in the room to prove otherwise. So it makes it real hard for me in any case to really accept those.
Yeah, take a look at it when we get off here. Noreen posted it. She went ahead and posted the picture publicly, so I know I can say something about it. And it was taken, they were all at a dinner table. Big, huge dinner table. Nighttime outside, French doors. What appears to be, we'll say that, allegedly, what is allegedly looking inside has no human color to it. Nothing.
Okay.
It's very odd. Just go take a gander. Just go look at it.
So Angela's asking, why is it always the basement or the attic? Well, I would think basement, because they're generally more damp, and so the water will provide some of that energy. You also you're also in the earth as well, so I think that combination of the water plus the minerals surrounding you are more conducive to creating that paranormal activity in a basement. Would you agree with that, Vanessa?
I would for the basement part. Another way to look at that is that if you're talking about an intelligent haunting that doesn't necessarily want to be around people or isn't really conducive to interaction, but is an intelligent haunting nonetheless, they're going to pick the two areas that are least likely to have interaction.
That makes sense. Yeah, because people aren't always up in the attic or down in the basement. They're in the living area. Yeah, so that makes sense. So
it's honestly, I say spiritual preference because they do have preferences,
Right.
If it isn't an intelligent haunting, then it could be whatever the layout of the structure was that had sat there before.
Mm-hmm.
If there have been any alterations to the structure, and that is the one that is spiritually infested, then it could be that simply the layouts changed.
Yeah.
That's what a lot of people don't realize is if you might move into a house and you might see a spirit that looks like it's walking 10 feet in the air. Well, there might have been another room there at one point in time. Maybe they knocked the floor out and made big old tall ceilings. You never know. But they follow the same course that they're used to.
Right. Well, and that's something that we were trying to figure out at the going back to it, since we were on the subject, at the Campsville School, in the one hallway, and this is away from everything else, you hear the footsteps, above, but there's nothing up there. It's just, it's attic space, but it's really, there's no floor. It's just, rafters and blown insulation. So that's something that we were trying to track down for a long time was, had there been a house or maybe another school on that property with 2 floors that, a residual haunt could be, making those footsteps. Shauna's saying that she would prefer an attic over a basement. For one point, that since heat rises, cold spots are easier to feel in an attic, which is a good thing. So, yeah, as far as investigating, yeah, that would, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of basements.
No.
Like cellars,
too creepy.
We're not friends.
Is it the creepiness? Is it the coldness, dampness? What is it?
Spiders.
Spiders. Now, see, that's Shauna, too. She hates spiders.
No, I will turn into Bruce Lee. Like,
Yeah, I don't mind the spiders so much. I don't know. I mean, I just step on them and they die. That's kind of what happens.
Yeah, I have to scream like a little bitch first. It's just not. It's not.
Oh, that's funny. She just posted in the chat. Remember, we're delayed, so she didn't hear you. She says that she hates basements because spiders live there too. And now she just heard your initial comment. Says yes. That's awesome.
I'm not a fan. Not a fan.
Not a fan of spiders in basements, and but it was kind of. But speaking of that, a lot of times when I'm experiencing that something paranormal is nearby, or maybe I've run into it, I get that like cobwebby feeling, and it's really hard to discern in a basement where there's a lot of times, yes, there are spiders and cobwebs and things like that. So it does make it a little bit harder to discern. Did I just actually walk into a cobweb, or did I just feel something paranormal?
I'm getting ready to jump down that hole because I got a question for you.
Okay.
Okay.
Rabbit hole. Let's go down it.
I know. I'm going to hula down it here in a second. For anyone who is listening, I really want to know your opinion on this. My son and I were talking the other day, and the term ectoplasm came up. Okay. And I kind of just, poo-pooed it away because I don't know a whole lot about that. Who does? And you just hit me with something, and I'm really, really curious. If when we get that feeling where we're in a place where there is absolutely no spider webs or cobwebs or whatever you call it, if when we get that feeling, if that might be what we're actually kind of walking into.
Is that you're thinking we're actually walking into ectoplasm?
I'm wondering. It just kind of, the two just kind of clicked.
Well, does anybody have any opinions on that? Ectoplasm, I mean, that goes back, at least as far as I know, about 100 years at least, and I don't know how it may have manifested itself before, well, I guess maybe 150 years, before the whole spiritualism movement, because there's that, and I can't remember her name offhand, but there was that one woman who was able to, and she had it all rigged up, where she was actually able to exude the ectoplasm, and she was later deemed a fraud, and they figured out how she did everything. But the idea of ectoplasm was actually around back then to some degree, because people knew basically what it was. Was that somehow spiritual energy manifesting itself in a physical form. So, see if anybody's responded to that yet. Nobody said anything on it yet. So
it's a thinker, isn't it?
No, it is. Could that? Is it the energy? Is it ectoplasm? Well, I mean, yeah, because you feel like a cobweb, and a cobweb is sticky. The only thing I would say about it is I don't feel any like dampness or anything like that you would get with the ectoplasm when that's happened to me.
Well, and that's what we assume you would get with ectoplasm.
Right.
Because nobody can truly know. Because honestly, all I know about ectoplasm is what Ghostbusters taught me. That's all I know.
No, you get slimed.
That's all I know.
Yeah, that's a little overboard, I think.
A little bit, So it just makes me wonder if that is if we are actually coming in contact with present.
I know what Shana's talking about. She says, oh my God, I have a funny story. It's rather inappropriate. I think I've seen ectoplasm, or what you want to call it. Activity happened, nobody went in the area, and then goo. She's talking about the cafe.
If this guy's got to be
Shana, go ahead and type up the story. I will share it. I will tell your term right here because it's going to get everybody curious. But basically, it was an ectogasm.
Oh. Well,
yeah.
I don't really know what to say to that, but I
the rabbit hole. We go there. This was.
Ghosts need loving too now. So.
Yeah. Oh, she's gonna type it. So we gotta wait a minute. Yeah, it's the cafe there, and it's funny how this small little town has so much going on. But the cafe that's there is extremely, extremely haunted. It's closed off right now because the floor is out. But my ghost story was in there a few years back, and Shauna had a part in all of that. So, and that was the Gropes of Wrath episode. But yeah, it's an extremely haunted location. That's where Shauna saw Byron. Yes, Gropes of Wrath. Yeah, and Vanessa's laughing. So there's somebody there that's very, very inappropriate and frisky. So yeah, Shauna started her story. My group at the time and I were hunting at the cafe in Campsville. There's a very mean and perverted spirit there. And she'll continue on. So this is kind of what we're going for, is for you guys to also chime in and share your experiences. This is the idea of the show is to be extremely interactive with you, because this is a show for you guys and to be able to discuss all these different paranormal phenomena.
And we like you people.
Yes, we do. So she says he always calls us names, and later on the audio we heard a man jacking off. And this is the internet. We can say jack off. So yeah.
What?
Yes, you heard me right. You know, it was one of. You know, I guess it was like that. Vanessa's dying. It's the rabbit hole. We can go down there, and it's the internet, so we can do whatever the hell we want. Except we can't. I guess we can't get naked, but you know. And Diane's like, oh my, yeah. And hi, Lynn, how you doing? So Shauna continues. Vanessa's dying. Shauna says, one of my investigators all of a sudden felt bad, and then it looked like she got shoved forward. Yeah, so it was a bad interaction.
Yeah.
Even though we're laughing because of the idea of it. It was a very invasive of privacy.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not good.
You know, and she continues, when she sat up, she looked very pale, but didn't see anything on her face. But in the picture, with no flash, there was this string of slimy-looking white stuff.
On her face?
On her face.
Oy.
So pulled underneath her eye, trailed down her cheek, and hung off her chin. So very pornographic. There's silence from Vanessa. If I had a microphone, we could drop it. She's cracking up again. Yeah, so Shauna has dubbed it an ectogasm.
So, it's like the monkey
it's very, yeah, I mean, it's... So, yes, very invasive to do that to a human from the spirit, of course. So, but it's one of those, it's actually an ectoplasm story, legit. So,
yeah.
So Shauna's saying that she's trying to get her to release the pic to her. I'd love to see the pic just to be able to see, you know, that type of phenomenon. You know, it's something you don't usually hear about. I mean, you hear about, you know, like an incubus or succubus or something like that, which from all the descriptions that I've heard of this person that's there and the descriptions of what he's done, he's not that. He's just a very
he's a dirty old man.
Yeah, he's a dirty old man, exactly. You know, there's a lot of things that he and Shauna, this is the same one where he had done things to kids and stuff like that, if I'm correct. So yeah, he was yeah, he was horrible, absolutely horrible. So
my heavens.
yeah,
I got nothing.
You got nothing on that?
Ghost porn.
Well, yeah.
Ew.
And okay, so I guess we'll move on from that. I think I don't know. Vanessa keeps cracking up, and then she's like gets disgusted. So it's like
I know. The three
the
faces
juxtaposition of the whole story.
Well, there's
Yeah, paraporn. Yeah, paraporn.
Yeah, is anyone seeing anything back there?
You know, I thought I had earlier. I'm not right now, but I just thought it was maybe shadowing because of your lighting in there. And Shana is confirming that, yeah, it's the same spirit in the one from the episode that groped her and put his hand on her face. So there is the My Ghost Story episode, it's Gropes of Wrath. Forget the exact episode number, but you can look it up. It's the Campsville Cafe. And you can actually see their experiences there. And yes, yeah, and Shana's confirming he did rape a young girl that worked for him there. So, and he's still there. And Shana does say that she keeps seeing something flashing behind you. And actually, I think I just saw it. Yeah, there's something. I guess maybe that's your living room back there.
Yeah, but I don't have anything on.
Okay.
Except for I have the bathroom light on, so I don't know if my bathroom light is flashing or not. But I keep hearing something, and it's not Cha-Cha.
Okay.
It's getting crazy again.
Is it?
It'll stop once I get back from Virginia.
Okay.
So.
I hope so.
I'm not going to get into that right now because I don't want to get upset.
Yeah. All right. So let's move on to your NP Paranormal clips. These couple clips Vanessa provided, and they're actually from NP Paranormal out in the UK. And the first clip is a recording of a recording. So.
Set it up.
Yeah, go ahead. It's your deal.
Just so people know, the reason it's a recording of a recording is because I was live streaming with NP, and I think they were at Roche Abbey. I can't remember, but I think that's where it was. And I was watching them on my phone, doing the live stream because I can type into my phone and everything, so I read for them. And I saw something, and I'm like, motherfucker, did I just see that? So I pulled up the PS4, put it on my big screen, and sure enough, there it was. You can see something run from the lower left part of the screen, diagonal kind of up, to going towards the guys. They didn't see this. I did. They did not see it, and they were right there. So I videotaped it on my phone and sent it to them. And I would love anybody's opinion on what this could be, because there were no animals there.
Yeah, there goes the flash again. And again.
Yeah.
So.
We're just going to ignore it.
All right. We'll ignore it. Okay, so here's the clip. I'll play it a couple of times because it's kind of quick. I did edit it just because I needed to shorten it because I was, for time. So here we go.
I heard that noise. Did you hear that? That was though somebody just
And
kicked
there
this
it was,
wall.
really quick. We'll play it again. All right, so we'll play it one more time. It was real quick.
I heard that noise. Did you hear that? That was though somebody just kicked this wall.
All right. So yeah, you can see it just real quick in the bottom right hand corner there. Just dart across, and
there's no rhyme or reason to it.
Yeah.
My TV just came on.
Your TV came on. Yeah, there's a lot of flashing going on back there now.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and Lynn is saying that flashing went crazy when you said you were going to ignore it. So, Angela says that she feels it's negative what is behind you. And you're agreeing with that? Yeah, okay. So, anything else I don't know if anybody wants to chime in about the video clip.
They need to study it a little bit more.
Yeah, I'll play it. I'll play it one more time here. See if we can.
I heard that noise. Did you hear that? That was though somebody just kicked this wall.
Yeah, it's so quick in that one. The next clip is a lot more distinctive. I'll do it one more time.
Well, and they can go back on YouTube after and look at it, but if anybody has any ideas, this has stumped us for over a year. I mean,
it could just be a small entity just running through the area.
I know, but that's what I'm so curious about. It could be one of your fairies.
It could be, although we saw it as a ball.
Yeah.
This was certainly bigger. It had more distinctive limbs and that sort of thing going on.
Yeah, it definitely has legs.
Yeah.
Because it's hauling ass.
Oh yeah, it's definitely hauling some ass.
Yeah, and like I said, the guys who are normally fairly sensitive to things had no idea.
And they were right there because it blows right past them. Yeah.
There was like 5 of them there.
Okay.
Nothing.
Wow.
And are you going to put up the other one?
I'm about to put up the other one. Do you want to preface it at all? I show the cat and then the plume, and then that's where I cut it off.
Yeah, and that's the thing is what people need to realize, the area that this is in, there is no electricity, okay? No electricity. This is an abandoned hospital. It's Firth Medical Center. It has been out of function for decades. They had to, basically had to break in to get into it. Almost to crawl down through this little chute to get into there. So there is no electricity. There's no way this could have been done. Some skeptics said it must have been black vapor smoke from a cigarette. I've called 6 different vapor shops. None of them said that exists, and it obviously isn't. But when people look between Richard and Carl, they'll see this, and after it gets up to the ceiling, they'll see Carl, being somewhat sensitive that he is, finally realize there's something there and turns around.
Right.
This is like your wispy thing, only this is crazy, freaky wispy. This is bizarre. I've never seen nothing like it.
Yep. All right, here we go.
It's like something from 28 Days Later, the film. But get ready for this. Hope nobody's having the tea. Freshly dead and flat, as though somebody has stamped on it. What is that all about? It's very, very spooky already. Right, guys, you saw that. That's not a good sign for starters. Vanessa, if you're watching, what you're feeling, because that is.
Okay, so you saw the plume behind them, and I'll play it one more time so that you guys can see it. But I know when I first saw it, and Vanessa showed me this clip before, I thought it might have been, honestly, that they kicked the bed, because you saw the gray stuff that was on the bed, the mold and mildew and all that, but the bed's in front of them. The plume of whatever it is behind them, so it's not that. We'll play it one more time.
And it takes shape, too.
It does take some shape.
It's like something from 28 Days Later, the film. But get ready for this. Hope nobody's having the tea. Freshly dead and flat, as though somebody has stamped on it. What is that all about? It's very, very spooky already. Guys, you saw that. That's not a good sign for starters. Vanessa, if you're watching, what you're feeling, because that is.
So, and you can even see the reaction. And I'm sorry, Vanessa, I don't remember their names, but how he turns around as if he sensed that something was behind him. But by then, the plume is kind of gone. So, yeah. And Angela's saying it's a black mass trying to manifest. Yeah.
Yes.
And Fran says, yes, a really full mass.
I've never seen anything like that on any video of anybody ever, and that was caught live.
Yeah, that was from a live stream, right. Fran's asking, so the noise came with it? I can't hear the volume. I don't.
Yeah, it's been so long since I've watched it, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, whatever you heard was off of their live stream when they did that, so.
Yeah, they had a lot of activity in that hospital. A lot. They had actually went there a couple of times.
Mm-hmm.
But to get something so solid but not solid is just weird. You know, and
Yeah.
it was two guys with a selfie stick. They're filming themselves. You know, there's not another person in there, it's. I'm like, that was one of the live streams that I worked with all their live streams once I got on, but yeah, there's no rhyme or reason to it. There's no explanation for it, and we can't find any type of documentation for anything like that anywhere.
People are really feeling for the cat. Did they ever figure out anything with that cat that was there?
No, the area that's in, it's abandoned, and that poor little thing just got in there and passed away.
Yeah.
You know, but the odd thing was, if memory serves, it didn't appear to have been there very long.
No, it looks pretty fresh. Yeah.
It was basically gutted without any evidence of anything being taken out of it, and that's what's really bizarre.
Yeah, because they made a comment that it seemed flat.
Yeah. But you'll notice there's no blood.
Right.
There's no nothing. You know, and I think they buried it.
Okay, good.
But I can't remember. But yeah, it's just I did not go there with them when I went to England, just because it's too difficult to get into.
Okay.
You know, but I did that one on live stream, and like I said, if anyone has any ideas after the show, go on there, study them, see what you come up with.
Yeah, because you were doing a remote viewing for them during that, and you hear it in the video where they're talking about Vanessa.
Yeah.
In there, so yeah, she was remote viewing for them at that point. Did you pick up anything specific, with that black mass?
Not with that particular black mass. It caught me as much by surprise as it did them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, me first, because they didn't know it was there. You know, but there were plenty of other souls stuck there.
Right.
But one of a little girl that perished in that hospital, and she's still there.
Okay.
But, oh crap! But what you and I were talking about earlier with the web type feeling, this is what was really strange, and another thing that made me think of it. On another investigation there, it was Richard, Dave, and Carl, and I want to say Abby was there too. And Abby was filming them, I think, and it's on their website as well, or on their YouTube channel. But they all seemed to walk through something like that at the same time, and they kept trying to. And
they were getting the cobwebby. Okay.
They kept to pull it off their face, but here's the oddest thing. As that was happening, it was like all of them got this weird feeling of euphoria, like you would get with some type of anesthesia to put you under.
Okay.
Didn't quite put you under, and it was really strange. It was very bizarre to watch. It was almost frightening.
So it's almost like they're getting hit with like some ether or something like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because they lost control of themselves.
Okay.
And I mean, it was like I said, and all of their stuff is done live. So
Right.
There's no setup for it. There's no way to fake any of that. There's no way to set things up, because every place they're at has no electricity.
Gotcha. Yeah, so it's a little difficult to do that without electricity. Fran is, wondering, and maybe you might have gotten a little bit of it, but the cat spirit at all?
No, it was gone.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, it was gone. There wasn't anything left. Which is, I mean, you can look at that one of two ways. I mean, you feel very bad for it, because it's shell, basically. What we all have was still right there, but at least it was no longer in an area where it was uncomfortable or in pain.
Right.
So, because, I mean, that was the only thing that I got from it, was that its passing was not an easy one.
So, well, okay. I mean, if it got in there, got lost, maybe. So,
Yeah,
that's
very,
not
very, very
happening
hard to get into, very, very hard to get out of.
Yeah.
That is.
So, and I'm
Right.
sure
Awful.
it did not have a food source there. So.
No, There's nothing there.
Yeah. So.
Except for what y'all saw, you know.
Right. Yeah. Oh, that's sad.
But the guy that it's named after was a real bad asshole too. He was a jerk.
Ah.
Yeah. He showed up in one of the investigations at one of the cemeteries. I think it was a general cemetery there in Sheffield.
Okay.
He has a big monument to him. He's a dick. So, sorry, he was.
Hey.
Been dead a long time. He's okay with it now.
Some people are assholes. It
He was
happens.
an asshole. He was a misogynist.
Oof.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
Did they get any voices that came through that night?
Not that night. Other investigations that they did they did. Some of the best EVPs they ever got was actually at Nine Lady Stone Circle, where they got one that perfectly said, "Get your hands off the stone."
Right. Yeah, you've talked about that one before.
You know, got quite a few at Ward. I think it was Ward's End Cemetery when we were talking about a lobotomy, because it felt like when I was reading for them, like somebody had given me a lobotomy, the pain of it, and they actually have an EVP that says it hurts,
Oh wow. Okay.
and that was awful, because you don't want to think of somebody going through that, because there was no anesthesia or nothing like that. Then they didn't do that; they just went in and did it. So
well, yeah, they would do the front orbital lobotomy right through the eye. And you know, if you've seen anybody who's done any research on that, and I have, they would basically take an ice pick and go right there, the inside part of the eye, just hammer it in there real quick, scramble it around a little bit, and that was that, you know.
Yeah.
They would just
or
scramble
maybe
your
one
frontal
that was,
lobes.
I think, behind the ear.
Yeah, I've heard of, yeah, there were some rare cases behind the ear, and I guess when they first started, but it would make a mess, so they stopped doing this, they would actually go through the side, through the temple area, which they could actually, going that way, could see a little bit better of what they were doing. But, of course, it was a lot more expensive. There was the bone that they had to get through and all that, but going through the side. So they stopped doing that because it was just easier to go through the eye and scramble it around.
Another good one, just because you brought up EVPs, and this is probably one of my favorites, just because the person that was involved with it was just one of my favorites. They were, I think it was at Woods and Cemetery, and it was about a year and a half ago, and I kept hearing the name Arthur, and I kept telling them, you got to find Arthur.
Right.
And they were walking along. They were actually getting ready to go because it was so dark and it was cold and everything else. And they were walking down this path, and I think at that time Richard was holding the camera, and he stumbled and kind of fell a little bit, and where he landed, he pulled the camera up, or Carl pulled the flashlight up, hit the tombstone, and it said Arthur. Oh. And so, yeah, so they decided to do an EVP session there, and they asked him, because I told them he only had one leg. One of his legs had been amputated.
Okay.
And they asked him, because I could see him. He was kind of leaning up against the tombstone. And they asked him, they said, did you lose it in the war, or was it industrial? And he answered perfectly, industrial.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So Fran is asking about where to find the videos. It's NP Paranormal. Do you have some specifics? Okay. And that's all on YouTube here. Yeah.
All on YouTube.
Right.
Quite a few. I think I live streamed or remote viewed for almost 100 investigations with them. So basically, anyone they watch, except for like the first 4 on YouTube, I'm remote viewing for them.
Okay.
And yeah, they got some good stuff, and they also have some where they didn't get shit. That's the way of it.
Right. I could go back and link the NP Paranormal channel. I'm sure they'd appreciate that.
Yeah.
If Fran's asking, was it somewhere along the conversation? Was it an operating room? I guess where they were doing the lobotomies.
This was actually on a field.
Okay. Yeah.
It was on a field.
Okay.
It was not good.
Yeah. Yeah, there's been a lot of backdoor lobotomies and, well, I guess not backdoor, backroom lobotomies. But
It
there
was
was,
very painful.
but yeah, definitely. I mean, they would, you've heard the horror stories about, they call them doctor lobotomy, traveling the country, going to the different insane asylums and just, practicing the lobotomies on different people.
Well, and not just lobotomies. If anyone has ever, or if they haven't been, they need to go to the Crescent Inn Hotel in Eureka Springs, Arkansas.
Mm-hmm.
That hotel,
Yep.
very, 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 very haunted. Just take my word for it, but go anyway. That used to be a hospital,
Yep.
a cancer hospital, and the guy that was running it was a quack. And there was no cancer treatment there. It was like bleach that he was taking, and don't quote me on this, research it, but I think taking big syringes full of bleach and injecting them into the tumors. Wow. And now the bridal suites are what used to be the room where because everybody was dying. I don't think very many came out of there alive. The way that they had it set up in that hotel when it was a hospital, none of the rooms had doors because the doctor would go in and out as he pleased. But as you started to die and the pain became so intense, you were moved, I think, to the 3rd floor where it was the only wing that had these big, huge, thick steel doors. And that they would put you back there to die.
Yeah.
That is not a bridal suite.
No, not at all. I missed that trip.
Yeah, that is not the bridal suite. I had been there.
Yeah.
One of the best pieces of photographic evidence I've ever gotten. I got outside that bridal suite, and it was about midnight. I was taking a picture out the window. There's a wall behind me. I'm by myself, and yet there's a person leaning against the wall with their legs crossed, staring at me.
Oh, wow.
I'll post it.
Yeah, that'd be great if you could post it.
Craziness, because nobody else was with me. My son and my niece were in our room with my mom.
Wow. Yeah, happy Valentine's Day, Stephen. We're actually at the end of the show. It's over an hour, so we gotta wrap it up. That's what happens. We keep going. And so we really want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. Thanks for those that shared some stories. Really appreciate that. And Shana, thank you again for being our instigator of chat. Want to thank, we'll give some shout outs here. I mean, Fran is right there. Carrie, of course, as always. Angela, who she actually had to step away, but we really appreciate her input tonight. Who else do we have in there? I know we had, Tracy Wasson was back. Thank you, Tracy, for joining us again tonight. Diane Hilbert, again, thank you for joining us. As always, Lynn, really appreciate it. Kim, thank you for joining us tonight. Richard, we have a number of different people in here tonight. I know we had, Andrew was here again this evening. Linda Miller. I think I got my Miller straight this time. I know Paul Johnson was in there earlier, so I would really thank all of those who came out, chatted, shared their stories, shared their experiences within the chat. And so we have, of course, more coming up next week. We are on Edge of the Rabbit Hole is what we're doing here every Tuesday night, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 8:30, of course, Central. A lot more coming up on Haunted Road Media. We have a new Friday Night Ghost Frights coming up at the end of this week. And what else do we have coming up? We have the Bel Air House investigation will be coming out here within the next couple of weeks. There's a bigger video we're putting together. And then Shana and I are going to be doing a few things this coming weekend that we'll share later on as well. So hopefully she has some good stuff to share from the school, the old school tomorrow. That'd be great. What else? Oh, Enigma Underground Radio live show Thursday night, EnigmaUnderground.com. We are on TuneIn.com now, so you can get that app and then just search for Enigma Underground Radio and tune in anytime. So, what is... Oh, Lynn is saying, Happy Valentine's Day, Shauna. I hope Mike treated you to something fun. And Shauna followed up saying that we live about 9 hours away. from each other. So it does make it a little difficult to, in the middle of a week to do something on Valentine's. But yes, I did send Dove dark chocolate, and I am bringing her out to Ohio this weekend. So, anything else you want to add, Vanessa?
No. Well, I'm going to be on Noreen's show on Thursday night.
Okay, our friend Noreen Balovich, Paranormal Zone TV. Go check her out.
I don't know what time yet. She hadn't told me. I'm just going to show up and keep thinking happy thoughts about the trip to Virginia, because it's not looking so good. So please, thank you.
Cool. Okay. Yeah. Carrie, you want to share that story? I guess maybe next time. We'll be happy to talk about, because we got to wrap up now. So, yeah, I guess that's it. Yes. Noreen's show on Thursday. So Lynn is familiar with Noreen. Yes, she's our friend. Okay, so again, thank you for joining us this evening. If you have not yet, please go ahead and subscribe. That always helps us out. Like the video, your comments. Really appreciate that. There's that little bell there. You can get the notifications of when we go live and when we post a new video. So you get a notification Friday when the new Friday Night Ghost Frights come out, and then when we're going live here, Edge of the Rabbit Hole, you'll be able to get that notification as well. So that'll keep you up to date on anything and everything that we are doing. So again, thank you guys for coming out. Till next time.
Bye.